Sciences. Dr. Shmari also served the private sector as CEO of Karshi Research International and Vice Chancellor of Karshi University, Lahore. He was a tenured professor of biotechnology and dean of Faculty of Biological Sciences in the Qaeda University, Islamabad, and president of National Council of TIP, and also served as Secretary General of Pakistan Academy of Science. He is serving as a co-chair of UNESCO World Commission on Ethics, where he worked with the United Nations CBD program. He is also an international advisor for ANSO China. During his research, Dr. Shmari reported genes for drought, cold, and stress tolerance. He published 9 books, authored 8 international proceedings, edited about 145 articles in high-impact factor journals, and he has about 22,000 citations with an age index of 54. He has trained more than 100 MPhil and PhDs and has 2 patents. Registered patents. The topic of Dr. Shanwari's talk is Fagonia-Derived compounds for therapeutic application and unveiling the potential in the fight against cancer. Dr. Shanwari.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the chairs, and thank you, Worthy Vice Chancellor Khalid Raki Saab. It's related to you. Thanks for coming. Thanks to Iqbal Chaudhary, Asmat, Nadeem Saab. Oh, you're here. I thought you were not around. Tawraman Saab and everybody else. Thanks for coming. And thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity as a student of yours to talk to the audience. This is related why I said to the VC Saab also, because what I'm going to talk to you is one of our issue in the developing country that we have, what we call it from bench to bed. We do a lot of publications, a lot of research, but then the government or the bureaucracy complains that we cannot take it to the real end. So this is one story which I'm telling you that we started in our lab. Azad Saab, grateful, my teacher again. So this is the story, sir, that we are in our lab, we are trying and we are almost at the end from bench to bed. Specifically a plant and based on indigenous knowledge, herbal medicine, to have a research on different aspects, and then finally as a drug for a very important cancer disease, breast cancer, that our lab is working on. So just about the breast cancer, specifically in Pakistan, we are really suffering. We are among the top 10 countries of reporting breast cancer patients now. In 2020, close to 200,000 cases were reported, and more than 100 women die every 24 hours because of cancer. So this is the terrible kind of thing that our country and globally too are suffering because of various reasons that we may be talking in a few minutes. Little more data about global occurrence of distribution of cancer incidence. Specifically, I'm talking about breast cancer, which is close to 12% incidence, and mortality is also quite large in this case, which is close to 7%. So that's why we all are working on different aspects, of course, but one of the major is that herbal medicine may be a cure. The problem in Pakistan and many developing countries is that whether this herbal medicine is a medicine, is it a health supplement, is it something over-the-counter product that helps you? What is it? And what are the rules and regulation of a country? Specifically, I will be talking about Pakistan, and how can we make this as a product that can be used really to benefit and remove the myths, come to the reality. In the last lectures too, you saw one slide telling you the street vendor, how they cheat you or they misguide you regarding things. So how to make it evidence-based things that should come out. So no need to talk about this. Iqbal Chaudhary is very expert in this talk when he gives the data about how many plants are there and how many plants are being used as a medicine, are reported as a medicine. close to 400,000 species, including algae, lichen I'm talking about, and flowering plants. And that 70,000 plant species have been so far reported as, used in various medicine things. And for cancer, close to 3,000 species are reported one way or the other being used as a cure or as a help. Now, again, as a WHO nowadays, I'm working with the WHO also on herbal medicine side, that whether we should be now having some kind of guidelines. Is it a complementary? Is it an alternative? Is it, integrated sort of medicine? Again, these terms that I spoke earlier, how can we really use this and can get it? So these are the total report. There's a lot number of species. How indigenous knowledge helps us to reduce the number of chances that we will be doing and getting something out of it. That's very important. So this is again the product that are based on natural sort of getting based on indigenous knowledge too. Estimates is that 80% of the world population is using one way or the other. If as a major medicine, as a complementary medicine, as an integrator, somehow they use every livelihood almost uses, for some purposes. And that there were from 83 to 94, 41% of new approved drugs based on this medicine. And that is the data you can see, natural product drugs and the modified nature product is close to 30% plus, 32% of the total that are reported are based somehow on the natural products. Now, and few cases, what I'm going to talk to you is how to make it evidence-based, how to convince the people, international people and everybody as a patient that this is now the, like other drugs we use, is a drug. So so far, those that were reported as evidence-based medicine by FDA and some other countries, we have searched all that, and that are the common kind of bitter gourd, for example, Karela and onion and all this. The commonly known kind of plants that are somehow one way or Argava, for example, they are reported, registered, that they are somehow helping you in some of the diseases that you may be having. Now, this is the next problem, that when we talk about herbs as a drug, one question comes evidence-based. Now, clinical trials, what should we do? And in Pakistan, I'm again working with Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. We are working since last a decade, we were doing it, and now there are some compromise that in normal process of allopathic or chemical-based drugs, a synthetic drug, you call it, you have, animals and then human phase 1, 2, 3, 4, finally you go. In herbal, now we say if you have a proof of indigenous knowledge, publication, something, you can skip the animal part and you can start the human things. And that reduces your, process, and you can have certain samples, and I will be showing you the SROs, the statutory regulatory ordinance, orders that we have several, and finally we came to this conclusion, and there is a setup, and we will be working together, Iqbal, and we can have some kind of mechanism in Pakistan that we should take this on and make it to the real conclusion. So that is very important, and we will be having an institute in Pakistan. We are already working with the private sector too, that will be doing this specific jobs on the herbal medicine. There are guidelines of WHO. What they want is, if you want to use herb as a drug, that the clear identification, what product you are using. Specifically when you are buying in the market, like in Karachi, you go to the market, and I will be telling you some stories what happened, and some other in Akbari Mandi in Lahore, etc., etc. In Peshawar too, we have a Sakhani Bazaar where you buy. So you buy it from those places, and they are mainly collected from the mountains by children, and women brought it here. How you know that you are using a plant? If you say X, it is X, it is not Y, or it is not mixed with Y. So that is that WHO wants safety, efficacy, standardization, quality assurance. Then we also need to understand this herbal medicine, what they do. All, they sometimes they claim this plant is good for everything. Like in the earlier slide, you have two sip of kava and you will be okay. Those are the things that they say, but then you need, to have background on all this, the clinical trial that we are planning or proposing. And the challenges are adverse reaction when you use, normally what people do is they use herbs as well as synthetic or allopathic medicine. And that interaction we have to understand. Because when integrated, you should have some scientific ground when you integrated their interaction. And then lack of understanding of regulation, if something happens, who will be responsible? Those regulation and those things, knowledge of side effects, usually they say there is no side effect, it's just a simple sort of like you eat vegetables and fruits and all this. This is natural-based medicine, but there are things. And thirdly, there's a slower healing. So you have to be patient and you have to realize that it will have, slower action. As I said, integration with modern medicine, the challenges we have to work on it, and evidence-based practice when we do it, all these clinical trial, etc. We should understand there is some other day we will be talking about nexus of genomic. The earlier presentation, they said it works in some, it doesn't work in some, but in some cases, it is mainly the human genomes are human, your own personalized medicine. World is so advanced with this artificial intelligence and everything. Now you understand what's happening with the individual regarding any compound or drugs, etc. Thirdly, global competitiveness. You should understand it's the world of economy. For that, people do everything. And when you are coming with something new, there are people who say if their business is at stake, they resist. In Pakistan too, we are suffering when we go to the ministry. So usually the other part of the doctors, they use it in their homes, but they will discourage to use it in the market. So that is the story that you have to, convince them also. And public health impact, that too, what will happen when you all this. Thirdly, intellectual property right now we are having, I'm working with CBD of the intellectual property right of traditional knowledge. You get a knowledge, people go there, get it, use it, and they are forgotten. So the access and benefit sharing is another issue, legal issue, international issue that we need to discuss. So what we need to do is, that's what I'm saying, promoting research and innovation in terms of application, to take it to the real end. Once I send you such few documents too, that if you want to have a small company, what are the few basic things that you need to do? And it's very simple. You need only what in our language we say 2 canal of factory, and that's it. It should be somewhere, and then you can have it. And mashallah, the place that we are here is the best place that can be. And then collaboration and partnership. We all have to work together. Even the artificial intelligence people, machine learning and all those disciplines, plus our own work, and of course, the world-renowned people are sitting here, chemists that they have spent their life on it. So, and then encourage your own herbal industry. That's usually, problems with, because they don't have resources, they work with meager resources. I'm talking about the common factor. There are some for billionaires now. I work with one of the company which is #1 in the country and exports now in billions. But there are majority are at the way that you need to empower them and help them. There are gaps that I will be talking about. We have to work on those gaps if you want to market our knowledge and our things. And validating traditional knowledge, we have to work on it. If they say something, we have to, and there is a specific way of extracting traditional knowledge. Just not go and say, what is this? Is explant that is used for wire disease. No, there are ways you have to wash them, you have to work with them, you have to stay with them. The basics of ethnobotany that we do, they are different rather than, going just in 10 minutes, you extract a lot of plants. Public trust and global recognition of your product that you will be having. Ultimately, you will achieve the goal if you based on scientific evidence. And this will lead you to the training and to the safety and finally acceptance by the patient and the public. So if you have all this, you may change the scenario of the world. Now, coming to the regulations in Pakistan, Drug Regulatory Authority, I'm working with their committees and for this discipline specifically, that how can we make herbal clinical trial institute if we want, what should we be doing? There are a lot of, first of all, what is a clinical trial? Not spending time, because I will be also warned there that please shut up. So that's why I'm trying to say maximum things in minimum time. That the clinical trial, what we do is therapeutic product on human to investigate, to verify it, to identify the adverse reaction and absorption, distribution, and metabolism, excretion, etc. You work on all this, then you come to some kind of a thing, and there are rules available, international and national, that we are working in. So this is what the name is, at an investigational product, and finally regulation of clinical trial, how they are regulated to ensure safety of the participant, data, and basically WHO's international guidelines that are available, biostudy rules. We follow that in the Pakistan too, and then we work on it. So when we worked on the clinical trial, there are a number of things, SROs, we call it, statutory regulatory orders in the country. I will be showing you, not reading all of for you, but we dig out all of that, from the biostudy to ethics to marketing to everything, and came with it. So there are notifications and notifications. You can see, I just showed you the slides that were there. We have to dig out all that to make ourselves law-abiding citizen, but really, even reading it takes a couple of months to understand what the notifications and updates and all this is there. And there are amendments and amendments after every couple of years for alternative medicine. Basically, I'm talking about herbal medicine, focused on that. So we had dig out all that, and finally we came to a place that how can we establish an institute following all these rules, regulations that are available. So now what you need is very simple to make it: ethical approval, guidelines you have to follow, and record keeping and documentation. These are the basic things that if you establish an institute, you have to do for that. Permits and licenses, you have to register yourself there in DRAP, and they monitor and audit it, and you are given permission to do that. So these are the key points. Again, when you register yourself, the best is to start with single ingredient. If it is multiple, again, there are issues related to it. Single ingredient and targeted, like breast cancer, for example, a disease. And then you come to standardization, dosage control, and regulatory compliance. That helps you if you simplify, start with something. And that then you understand yourself with the integration and safety, efficacy assessment, and regulatory oversight. If you work all on that, you get finally that institute will be working and it will be there. Now coming to one product that we did, as I said, single ingredient, one disease, and our lab started with various, scientific disciplines of that one product. And we are now close to, we have already registered patents, 3 of them. And finally, we will be, having a product in the market. This country is blessed. I usually say this one sentence, I love it. The only country in the world that stretches from 0 meter to 8,611 meters. No other country in the world. We have Nepal having Everest, very beautiful, good. A person may be here, but they don't have the pleasure of Punjab and beautiful Sindh and Balochistan. Sorry, I love my country, so that is the best one that we have. So I call it that Almighty has given us a piece of land that is wonderful. And because of that, you have diversity of good humans, you have diversity of plants, you have diversity of animals, and it gives you a laboratory on earth is for you to investigate. And then, so we did a lot of work on this breast cancer. I'm reviewing it. There are a lot of other cancers, but we shortlisted this one because we found a very good plant. And of course, how they do it earlier, how they were doing studies in vitro, in vivo, and the requirements that WHO has from quality, toxicology, pharmacology, safety, efficacy, etc., what they do. And I was the president of National Council for TIB. It's a government organization for 5 years. So from there we started. This is the plant we chose. Fagonia indica. And we were working on it with the US. We had a project with Ohio University, this Higher Education Commission project. We started this, and with this, we got, while we were working, one of the UK university, they took a plant from Karachi, and they reported something for breast cancer, some mechanism, but when we saw that paper, that species doesn't occur in Pakistan. So we approached them. This is a story I'm telling. What should you be doing as a chemist, as a molecular biologist when you work on plants or anything? So when we approached them, we said, "This hey guy, they publish in PLOS ONE. I will showing you the article too. That is not in Pakistan." And then they said, "Oh." So we said, "If you have some portion, send us. We will be telling you. We can have barcodes, etc." And they said, "Oh, sorry, we had a plant. We just crush it, and this is the pathway we did it." Like many of the chemists are doing, you'll be doing very good. But many of the people, molecular biology, they just do it. So the advice for all of you is that keep a sheet of the plant, or at least some leaves. Now the technology is quite advanced. We can barcode and we can tell you. So this is the plant that we were using it. It's very common in Pakistan. There are many species here. One of the species that indica is working, and this is known for hundreds of years. People are having tea of it. They were basically, they say this blood purifier, this do this, do that, but this is really, really working breast cancer. Because people are now asking me, and I'm giving them some sample free of cost. The very higher up, as I said, they use it themselves. And in a recent case, one of the vice chancellors said his mother-in-law was having problems. They said, the doctor said, sorry, finished. So, and they started, and she's still alive. Maybe a miracle, something. But there are things that really work. This was that paper that was published. They said, these are the species in Pakistan. Really, Pakistan is very lucky having a lot of treasure. This one leader said these number of species. This was that paper. Then finally we corrected the name and they publish. We work on it on the barcodes. So what I'm saying is that one of my lab is doing is the DNA barcodes. If you all are different as one species, each one of you can be identified with a piece of hair or whatever. So why not different species? So it's very easy. I give you one example. Again, I'm conscious of my time. That in UK they got some tea, and there are 20 different herbs contaminants in that tea when they barcode it. Because of collection, when they do, they may have something. So it is possible. But in case of if you use as a medicine, you have to be really careful. They are coming from a mountain, and any different thing can come in beside correct identification. So this is why we need to identify. There may be millions of species. We have reported only few, and now this technology of IT can help you quickly identify plants, and the advancement in the genome technology that we have. Fagonia is in Middle East, South Asia, very common. These were the reported things so far in the literature, from cancer to blood purifier to hepatitis to kidney. Like say, they write and they say it's for everything they use it. How it works, these compounds now, they say that it induces apoptosis. When there is a cell death in cancer cell, and they really work. And we have done a different kind of, including nano particles and all that. I'll be just quickly telling you some of the things we did. In my lab on this, what we did, we tried to have genetic diversity based on the DNA barcodes, what kind of, what particular area. Again, there's a question when you use plants from the wild, when you use plants from the cultivation. So having it exact compound or exact how much volume do you use, efficacy, and the standardization of the compound. That's also important. So that's what we do from barcodes. And then, of course, if the plants are in stress, so as said earlier, I worked on abiotic stresses, including drought, cold, and salinity. So, and nanotech, and I will be telling you a little bit about these, but one of them. And finally, we also work international colleagues on tomorrow. Iqbal has asked me to do something on the dual use and other biosafety security also. We'll be talking about that also. So one we did was, the good thing of this was not this plant that was curing the breast cancer. There is a fungus in the plant that helps to, do that apoptosis mechanism in the cell death of the cancer cell. So that was it. So that prompted us to work on the endophytic, all as your microbiome has hundreds of thousands of microorganisms living with you in harmony, same as in plants, and a lot. So that we work on that, we isolated, we screened, we worked, we identified which one is which one, how it works. It's not only for in this case, but we can have some good, we can use it in agriculture, for medicine, and different things that we do. Of course, you can finally find antioxidant in those entobiotic organism, and then several of our students, they work on this discipline that they find, because this prompted us to look deep into the endophytic things in the plants. Anticancer, how it works, the disease, I already explained it in the beginning, and this bacterial endophyte and fungal endophytes that we worked our labs, we identified the strains, we did again barcodes of the bacteria, etc. We found which one is which one and what it does. We did things on it. We extracted metabolites from it. This is the field of Iqbal, so he will be explaining more to you. And then the different assays of antioxidant, cytotoxicity, and things. Fagonia indica, this was the mechanism that we followed. We extracted all of them. We worked on them. I'm cutting it short. I'm looking at the watch. I don't want to be late. So we isolated, we sequence it, we know the real region of it, and then we can use this and extract the exact fungus from all other species that are there in Pakistan. And we can know which one is really working exactly like the purpose that we want. So that helps when we work on all that. This was the way that we worked. These are the modules from my lab, molecular systematics and applied ethnobotany lab. We call it MUSEL. So those are already there. You can all get it. Someday we will talk about digital ethics. I mean, the data that we are putting in the companies that they are using. That's another topic that someday, sir, we will be discussing on it. This is all those species that we work. I'm sorry, I'm going a bit quick. The mechanism, methodology, the assays that we did, and that fungus that also work diabetic activity also, Fagonia indica, and this is another project that we are already in, and we are one of our PhD students just completing thesis on this discipline that she has already worked. So I'm concluding that this finding suggests that we all really have to take it forward. Whatever we do, it's not only in the books, and we are going so fast with this technology that people get it and they use it and they market it. So developing country like us, Pakistan, we have to take it from the bench to the bed. And that is, there's a lot of promising, as I said. You have been given the best piece available on earth to you. So it's you students that you have to find different things out of it. And the results, our results shows that it has a lot of potential, endophytic, or even the other that have nano material that can work on it. Some other work that I want to tell you is the plant promoting things that we got from this endophytic fungi, dye degradation of these things, nanoparticle that we got from it, and we are working on it. This is one of the cream, because nanoparticle we use some heavy metals, so intake is still a problem. WHO guidelines. What we are doing is we are having some cream, and that we are using for some of the problem that we are having from this, and that is also been patented now. So it's the new approach. I'm not going to discuss with you the mechanism that we all work on it. we specifically this fungus that was very important for us. We are working on it, and we are finding things from the based on nanoparticle too. And now it's in the clinical phase. As I said, we are having that institute with the private industry, and we're working. Thanks to all these friends and people who helped us one way or the other. And my final thing is that my group, we work all that, but they're brilliant students, outstanding achievements, but we always celebrate not only their success in academics, but also in their ability to enjoy the beautiful moment in their life. Their dedication and zest for life are truly inspiring for me. We go in the mountains, we have birthdays, we have everything, and we enjoy ourselves. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shmari, for the wonderful, excellent presentation. Now the session is open for questions.
Thank you very much, dear brother. Apart from your academic and research contributions and services, I think you're working with one of the most difficult institutions of the world, RAP.
It is.
And I think convincing them to develop this evidence-based herbal medicine sector by putting together these new legislation acts is a service of a very high quality, for which I would like to appreciate. Number two, I think your introduction, you mentioned how you perceive the health products, whether if you see them as a dietary supplement or health food, or you see them as drugs. And this nomenclature will define your course of action and your perception towards that. If you consider that as a diet, you consider that as a diet, you don't really go for clinical trial, you don't go for any scientific evidence-based tools. And when you perceive them as a drug, then certainly you go for more stringent criteria of. So what I would like to request you to kindly explain, how do we perceive the botanicals of ours, the individual tradition in our country, in one of these two categories, so we can define the course of action, what we intend to do.
May I? Thank you, an excellent question. And I give you a practical example while I was working at DRAP. It was terrible, the last story that we are having. You all may be knowing, you use Joshanda. And in Joshanda, there is a plant, ephedra. And there was somebody, as I said, there's economical fight everywhere. So some of the companies, because it's selling like hotcake, so in the winter specifically, and they are earning billions of dollars also, exporting also. They said, oh, there is ephedra, and in US, it did this and that, people died, etc., etc. So then there were 3 organizations came in when such rumors come. Food Authority, DRAP, and there was another government organization saying, we are all, stakeholders. Finally, we had to convince them that one of the courts said that, but the amount of DRAP, specifically some ladies was using in US, in one of the states, they want to reduce themselves, their bellies. And it works, it reduces, but they overused the quantity that we use. That depends, and that is that in this case, it is 0.04. And secondly, there is ephedrine, pseudoephedrine, and you may be knowing the compounds. That you use in isolation. Again, when I say interaction of compounds with each other is also, you have to understand all this. When you use a plant, they have all those that they work together. So you are very right, sir, and we are fighting every day because I work with industry, with these bureaucrats and all that. But now they say the mechanism in place is that it is, or if you are happy as an industrial, that it is or the counter product as a supplement as an integrated. I mean, you don't want to have clinical trials, you don't want to produce an evidence, you just based on indigenous knowledge, then you can just register it and you just produce a piece of document of your paper or anybody's paper that we had basic information that it is good for diabetic, for example. And you can register it and you can sell it as over-the-counter product. But if you want to use it as a medicine, you should have clinical trials. And for the clinical trials, Now the system is simple now. The simple is that you do few individuals like what we are doing now, that we have hired some hakims that they are working. We just requested them to keep their data in the computer and share that data with us. And that names you can register with the draft, that we have 10 practitioners, 5 practitioners, R1 hospital, etc. That these are the number of patients and this is the data, this is what happened, both with renal test and others, the basics that are needed. You do that and then you can register it as a drug. Now it is as a product, because if you use as a diet, then another organization come in, Food Safety Authority, I don't know what, there is another one. And then you have to go with them also. But with DRAP, over-the-counter product or clinical trial, evidence-based clinical trial-based medicine. So these are the two that we work, and now we are going to register such product as a drug that you can use alone. I mean, you don't need any integration with it, but we are having data so that there are patients and we get like you did in their case for diabetes. Sir, Azhar sir.
I'm really fascinated with your work and you have taken on, congratulations on taking on such a very difficult job of getting a standardized regulatory process going. It's not going to be easy, but it's very important. My question is that most of the herbal drugs, let's speak about the nutraceuticals, when you want to go into clinical trials, you have to have batch to batch
Consistency.
Yeah. And unless you know what the ingredient is, or more than one ingredient is, because you're using a mixture of everything.
Yes.
You will have batch to batch variation.
Yes.
And this is very important because when you go into, because you're not doing the animal studies, you're going straight into the clinical trials. You also have to know which one of your ingredients you are going to look for when you're doing a clinical trial, because you might have 20 ingredients, but
yes.
you're looking for one.
Yes. And
how do you ensure that?
Yes.
And just from your own work, for example, very good work is to show you that there's anti-apoptotic or apoptotic activity against cancer cells. But the clinical trials have to be more than what the Hakim says, because you don't want apoptosis to occur on the normal cells, but you kill the person.
Yes. A very good question. I was just, rushing because I know my chairpersons are very strict and they will push me. So that's why I was. But this is, this is what I was briefly saying. We understand that specifically now in the market, the product that you have is basically the plants are coming from different regions, number one. Number two, they are collected by children. This is the studies that we do as a botanist by women and children from the mountain. They don't have a job, so they just pick, sell it, and you get it, and they are in the sacks. Earlier, it was the other sack of what we call it, patsan ki boriya, jisme hawa shawa jati thi. Now it's a plastic bag. It kills the plants too in halfway down, etc., etc. A lot of contamination. Secondly, different altitude, different, even the same species may have different kind of action. So how to ensure the safety and things. I give you one example again. In our industry that I was CEO, for example, we have tooth siya, one product of the black mulberry, you call it, if it is the same name. So that product, we helped the farmer, we encouraged them to grow it, and then one of the way. And then we buy it from them at our gate, the fresh material, and we produce it, and it's still going on. In the suburb, that industry is in the foothill of Himalaya. So they do that. And we get it, and we have the product that is really selling well. Two, for this thing, as I said, we start with simple, like one ingredient and one thing. We are not going to multiple for a while, number one. Number two, with that one ingredient, we will be encouraging, we are helping, there is multifold benefit for the country. We are working with the local communities to try to grow in the same environment. Yeah, just to half a minute. Okay. That's what I was worried for. So, what we are doing is a multifold, benefit of it. We are encouraging local community to grow it, we buy it, and then we have a DNA-based laboratory in the industry. We just take leaves, we do it, and we analyze it, and then HPLC, etc. there. rest is yours project that we measure this. So what we are trying is with single ingredient, with ensuring the compound that they have, so that there are not complications they are talking about. Thank you, my dear chairperson, and thank you, everybody. And I would ask the professor to come over, and Tauraman sir was here. I think लेकिन VC sir एक बार सवाल तो एक तस्वीर तो हो जाए. Please. आज पब्लिक के डीलिंग के दिन कुछ शुरू मेरे बच्चों से शुरू ऐसा some memory. Thank you very much for accommodating. Yeah. Thank you.
I was pleasure introducing our next speaker, a great pathologist in Pakistan, Dr. Shahid Pervez. Dr. Shahid Pervez is a professor and senior consultant histopathologist at Fagonia University Hospital. His major diagnostic and research interests include breast pathology, neoplastic hematopathology, and predictive pathology. He has supervised several HC, PS, and PhD students and published extensively over